Welcome to the Drivable Farm Historical Society, Virginville, Berks County in Pennsylvania. And we're here today to talk about ice harvesting as a technique that was done on the early Pennsylvania German farms as a way to preserve ice in an ice house. So we're on location today and we'll talk a little bit about how this process was done and show you some of the tools. The ice harvesting business was huge in this country through the 1800s up to 1910. It was a developing commercial industry that allowed food to be shipped, beer, meat. It was a big deal. Huge amount of money generated from this. It was even exported to other countries. However, the Pennsylvania German farmers were not interested in that as much as preserving ice to cool their milk from their dairy herds. Milk comes out of a cow at 99 degrees and needs to be cooled rather rapidly, especially in the summer months. So the idea was they had a tub of water, would put some chunks of ice in it from their ice house and lower the milk cans down in this cool water to rapidly cool the milk before it was shipped to the creamery. So we're going to demonstrate some of the equipment today. And ironically, I was down at the ice pond a few days ago. There was very little ice, but with the cold weather we've had now, there has accumulated enough ice that would have been a harvestable product for them to put in their ice house. The ice harvesting technique first started, however, with the first snowfall. The ice had to be shoveled and cleared, so progressively through the winter as it would snow, the ice pond had to be shoveled off to allow ice to develop that wasn't infiltrated with snow and that was honeycombed, but would actually be good solid ice. So next time you're shoveling your driveway, think about what it would be like to shovel a lake. So once you had an accumulation of ice, they were looking for up to 18 inches thick to harvest for the ice house. The process would start after you shoveled it off. They had an ice scorer that would put a grid of parallel lines on the ice. And this is this piece of equipment drawn by a horse and would be pulled back and forth across the ice to lay out a grid. You can see the teeth on the bottom here would scratch a line in the ice as they went. And then they would go at 90 degrees in the other direction to form the width. Now this piece of equipment also, in addition to scoring the ice, functioned as a gouge. These teeth could be progressively lowered so that each pass would make the groove a little deeper. They could get this up to 9 inches deep with the groove before they started with the ice saw. So this was a labor saver for them, as well as helping to map out the size of the ice blocks. Size mattered with the ice blocks because they would want to stack them in the ice house in a way that there was no airspace, that they would stack tightly. When they were stacked in there, they would put sawdust between them and straw to keep the blocks from fusing together. But it was important that they be of uniform size. So you have your grid marked out with your scorer. Next, you would get the ice saw. And this saw, large teeth, one-man operation, pushing back and forth, sawing down through the ice to cut the blocks. This was very hard work. Ice harvesting in general is regarded as one of the most difficult jobs on the farm. So now you've cut the grooves, parallel grooves with your saw, but they had an easier way to chunk the ice off. They would take a large chisel and poke down through at the end of the block and break it loose. And once it was broken loose, then could float it to the edge. Could have a long stick with a spike on the end. It would float it over to the edge. Once it's to the edge of the pond, you take your ice tongs, grab a hold of the block, pull it out, drag it up on shore, and then load it into some kind of a sleigh or sled that would take it back to the ice house. Now here we have a replica miniature model of what an ice harvesting sled may have looked like. Wooden runners, low size. We could pile the blocks in here and probably be drawn by a horse to take it up to the ice house. Again, then you'd come to the ice house, you'd have to, again, pick these large blocks up. Some of them could weigh 100, 150 pounds. Stack them in the house progressively, higher and higher. You get up to a certain point, you need a ramp to slide them up, and maybe a pulley to raise them up to stack the ice house to its fullest. They like to get it as full as possible to get that critical mass of coldness in there to hold the ice that it could last through the summer into the fall. Straw and sawdust between the blocks, but the outside edge then would be about 3 feet thick of straw and sawdust to insulate the ice from the edge of the ice house wall. So that's pretty much how they did this. You can imagine, as hard a work as it was, what was the downfall or the end of the ice harvesting industry? Well, you can think immediately of refrigeration. Once that was invented about 1910 to 1915, ice harvesting came virtually to a screeching halt. That was so much easier for cooling and so much more convenient than the hard labor of this, that this immediately was a shift from harvesting ice to using refrigeration. So thank you for tuning in today to watch our presentation. We appreciate the financial support we've received over the years from our volunteers. We also appreciate our volunteers who come and are a part of our mission. If you want to be part of this or would like to support us, you can find us on Facebook and or our website, the Dry Wool Biz Farm, and we'd be glad to hear from you. Some future events coming up we hope to schedule for this spring, if permissible, would be a wildflower walk, a spring peeper walk where we go to our wetlands to hear the chorus frogs of the spring peepers. And also our main event is our farm festival in August 21st this year, where the farm comes alive with over 40 demonstrators and reenactors, music programs, tours of our historic house. It's really a big event that we would invite you to come and enjoy. And it's free, so keep your eye on August 21st. So thank you for joining us, and we hope to see you.